Hello, hello. Welcome to Aleph Zero exclusive interview with Durman Capital. I hope everyone is fine. I will be back and forth in English and Greek actually. Here is Sadzi. Let me make him a speaker for our space tonight. Just give me a second, guys, because it's the first time that Durman does an X Space, hosting an X Space, but I will find it, no worries. Okay. I think Saz is a speaker now. Okay. So welcome everybody. Καλώς ήρθατε. Welcome to this interview with the Azero team. We are Durman Capital. We are a company from Greece, investing firm with a very strong community. I will unmute Sadzi. I don't know if you're mute, Sadzi, or if you can just.
Hi, yes. Hey everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, all
Hi,
working.
Piotr.
Thank you for having me.
Is Anthony joining? Is he having any issues?
Yeah, let me ping him.
Okay. So just I will have a brief introduction for Durman for our international audience. Maybe someone doesn't know us and Anthony is here. Okay, I will approve him too. He's hearing us for the first time. We are Durman Capital. Our main focus is on technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and cryptocurrency. We do crypto trading and forex trading, and of course macroeconomics analysis. We understand exactly the market vibes and where the market is going. Our mainly focus is on crypto, but in order to do crypto, you have to do so many things in the markets in general. We love the technology of the blockchain. We are followers since long back of this great project Aleph Zero. We have successfully built a community of 3,000 members, and now for the past 2 months, 100 monthly subscribers. And we cover a wide range of investing, trading, and guidance for new technologies. In the last bull run, we managed to do 10x on our overall performance. And with projects like Azero today, chances are that we will repeat that. So I welcome Anthony and Piotr from the Azero team. And please, gentlemen, I will give you the microphone for a small introduction.
Yeah, thank you. Hi everybody. Thank you very much for having us. Big pleasure. So I'm Piotr. I'm leading the business side here at Aleph, mostly focused on investment and our go-to-market. And yeah, Anthony, the space is yours.
Hey, I'm pretty much nowadays responsible for business and our front-end products. We just recently introduced a more consumer-facing direction of Zero, in addition to the upcoming enterprise program launch and the DeFi side of things. So very interested to spread the news about this a bit, as well as generally get to know the Greek community a bit better. Happy to be here, and thank you all for tuning in.
Awesome, great. Everyone is at least in our community, but I'm sure, because I've read the comments in all over Twitter this past 3-4 days, that we engage with the community and we let them know that we're having you live today, and all the comments that we've got was great. You're having a big project. We're very interested and excited to listen to what the Azero team has to say. I'm sure there's been some vibes lately, and the team, not the team, I mean the community wants to get all the clouds away from from the bad talks that some I don't know, maybe they haven't studied the project so much. But I'm very excited to see so many people here today from all over the world. And to be honest, I'd like to start. Let's cut right to the chase. I'd like to start with what is Azero and what are the key features of Azero for someone that might be listening to it, hearing it for the first time. Anthony, if you can take us through the project briefly.
Yeah, I'll do a very short rundown maybe. So Aleph Zero was originally conceived to solve or help solve or find the best compromise between the trilemma, right? So we've started with a design of a new consensus protocol that we believed offered the market the best compromise between speed, scalability, and decentralization, all while ensuring that there are maximum theoretical security guarantees, sort of natively designed into all of it. And that was our starting point. The network launched back in 2021. That was the mainnet of a WASM powered network that was using our consensus as well as the substrate technology stack. And then recently, we've also introduced an EVM layer so that we can ensure EVM compatibility for the broader ecosystem that leverages the L1 as a data availability layer. Um, and the EVM tech is built using the Arbitrum Orbit stack, which means that we have a very fast block production, that the transactions can be, they are more expensive than on the L1, but they are still fairly cheap at 0.005 A0 per transaction. Um, but then the key feature of Aleph Zero, because nowadays I would say that speed of transaction process, well, there are nuances to it, but generally the speed of how fast you send tokens to somebody else, this is pretty much solved in the space. What is not solved is how do you put that in the context of security? How do you put that in the context of decentralization, and general network stability, as well as the aspect of privacy, which is pretty much unsolved for the broader space. We do have some fantastic projects that have been working on this for years now. Quite frankly, Zcash, for instance, or similar endeavors. But we believe that nobody has yet solved the overall user experience of privacy, as well as the distribution of this technology. So the products that we're gonna introduce that are based on our privacy technology, pretty much aim to abstract the difficulties of using this as compared to other projects. So, what we are specifically working on right now when it comes to the USP of Aleph Zero is how do we create a wallet and a trading environment that allows people to stay private, but at the same time is fast, is relatively cheap to use, is not complicated. And basically, how do you put privacy into our everyday on-chain lives, but not make it impossible to use, basically. Um, and that's the gist of it, I would say. So if you were to boil down what Aleph Zero is, it's still the same thing that it was, which is it's a very, very fast blockchain. Or rather, it's an ecosystem of blockchains right now, with a strong focus on privacy and privacy enhancing features, privacy enhanced transactions, and the ability to integrate those features into applications that are already existing on the market instead of developing everything from scratch. We also do that. There are multiple builders in the ecosystem that work on their own apps. But we do think that if we are to also, if there is an option that we can make existing applications better, then it's going to be via privacy.
Awesome, great. This is actually really impressive, and what you said about the project is still the same. You know, maybe you don't want to brag much, but to be honest, because we've seen the whole progress and performance of Azero all these years. Actually, the project is relatively new. Of course, you've worked on it on the background, but it's impressive what you've done. And when we heard about when ZK EVM rolled out, the speed of it and the convenience is really amazing. And we hope that we're gonna see that during this year or the next year roll out in many wallets or other applications. And it's very important to have a project like Azero, or a project in general in the space that focuses that much and that greatly in the development of a privacy, not a privacy token, but a privacy feature within an ecosystem. So Shazi, so thank you, Anthony, for that. By the way, I'm Pluto. I'm Plutarchos. I don't think I mentioned the name to our audience. My name is Pluto. So Piotr, taking it from Anthony, how can someone visualize what Azero has to offer in the space? How is the privacy feature and the what you've done with Vibes, and we're going to discuss it later on, in the operating system, implementing in our daily collaboration or our daily interaction with applications and DeFi?
Sure, I think there are like four components here. So let me start with the first one, which is like pretty the same, which you can see in all of the ecosystems, right? If you enter some ecosystem, you're gonna see a DEX, money market, some yield products, and etc. And all of that is already existing or deploying in the short time in our layer 2 ecosystem, right? So experience, which you already probably know. However, we put a lot of efforts and focus on UX. So I believe that here you can see some distinguishment between our products and some other products available in the market. However, it's still, this is pretty generic DeFi ecosystem, some GameFi, etc. Right? What is different than in other ecosystems? So here are the three other things. So let me start with privacy. I think we have the biggest edge here. Because our team consists mostly of some cryptography developers and researchers working for that in that matter for a very long time. How we called our product around privacy is ZKOS, and you can read further about it on our blog and in a few other places. So I encourage you to do so, but you can imagine it as like privacy engine for our ecosystem, but also in the long term for other ecosystems, right? So let's say that at the moment, there is not really a lot of places where you can access privacy within the Web3, though there are a few really great projects which are working on that and receive some funding, etc. But most of them are focused on one of either two things. One is just transferring in a private manner, however, without any KYC, etc. So here we can think of Ternary Cash, for example. And we saw that this approach is probably not ideal because you get across a lot of repercussions. So you're gonna be banned by OFAC. And if you interact with Tornado Cash later on, you will have very big problems with withdrawing your money and just doing anything with it within the space, right? You, let's say, gonna be banned out of crypto, really. So we're trying to approach it other way. Some other things projects are doing at the moment is providing you as a developer environment so you can code privacy on your own. However, we see it as very limited approach because with our estimations, there is probably like 100 maybe great ZK developers mostly at academias, and some very deep tech project like ours. So it's very hard to scale an ecosystem like this because you probably just get lack of access to the developers who are gonna build those privacy enhancing apps, right? And the work you'll need to do is to educate very big amount of developers to provide you the products. This is very time consuming. I'm talking about years here, as well as very risky approach and very expensive one. How we approach the thing with the ZKOS is that you can build, of course, products on your own within our ecosystem with some very advanced privacy features, but you can also think of it as, let's say, to make it easy to understand, some kind of an SDK you just integrate with, and as a developer you can be mainly focused just on your app, and let's say this is some intent-based DEX, and you just have to be just Solidity or Rust developer and just building your app and then integrating it with ZKOS, and we are providing you this privacy. So you don't really need to be an expert, and still all of the privacy stuff is happening on the client side, which means that we don't have access to the data. We can't reveal it and steal the funds or check where they're coming from, etc. Right? So this approach let us work with much bigger markets, almost all of the developers in a space, if they're interested in privacy, even if they're not skilled in that particular part of development. And yeah, currently we're testing that, and hopefully sometime pretty soon you'll be able to see much more news and projects around that. Okay, so this is the second thing. I think the biggest distinguisher here around our ecosystem, but two other really interesting things are first, our approach to our enterprises. So if you follow in what AlapZero is doing, we just joined Kamara recently, so a Linux Foundation program for enterprises to experiment with different deep tech topics, crypto as well. And we are the first infrastructure, first like blockchain project to be part of Kamara. Beside that, we're working with a lot of telco companies and also some other enterprises. I can't tell the names yet. And here we working on a different angles with them, right? So some of them joined us as network validators, which is very important because when you think of a Deutsche Telekom, if you're from US, that's gonna be T-Mobile for you, the biggest telco worldwide. This is a very big message for those legacy, for those very big companies, that this is very reliable company, very reliable tech, if such a giant partner up with them, right? So this is opening us a lot of new ways to collaborate with some other enterprises, and with all of them we think, of course, of some other interesting projects. You once again can't spill all of the milk yet, but for example, you could see that we organize a hackathon with Telco Track, where developers could provide and show some products. I remember Parrot Pay was one of the very, very interesting ones created on a hackathon, and later on which spoke to those telcos about a real use case. So we're doing a lot of stuff on this enterprise side. And then lastly, we also, which is very lacking, probably from a few reasons, how the market is structured at the moment, but there are a lot of consumer apps, or almost any, in this space really. And we have really heavy focus on providing and building or collaborating with some. So recently you could see Vibes, so venture, which is focused on boosting fan engagement. This is like, you could think of it as a Royalty Points program, for example, really. And Vibes is working with Fame MMA, which is fourth biggest pay-per-view seller worldwide, if I remember correctly. But anyway, just a very, very big one, right? And the recent event, which happened this Saturday, took place in Warsaw, Poland, on a national stadium with 50K people on site in a stadium, very big event, and really big amount of people watching it from a TV or like laptop screens. I think somewhere around 4 million. All of those people got a message about this consumer app that they can download the new Fame app from App Store or like some Android store, and just use it to interact with the organization, with all of the sportsmen there, play some mini games and etc. Got different ways to interact with organization, and in the backend, it's all run by Aleph Zero. So you don't even know that there is crypto part there. If you, of course, look at the FAQ and just read about it, you can get to know. But as a user, your journey is super simple, just as you've been using some other app you already know. So you just log in with the mobile number. In a second, you got Aleph Zero wallet created. You don't know about that. You don't have to deal with MetaMask or some other crypto native wallet, and you interact with our blockchain in a very fast manner, very cheap manner, and just you're provided with a lot of great opportunities to do more things within the area you like, which is sports in this example. Okay, so I think that would be it's pretty long monologue, but I would say that there are a lot of interesting things happening at Aleph Zero at the moment.
That's a great speech, Piotr. Thank you so much for the information. I think you gave a few gems right on your speech. I don't know if Anthony is, scratching now, or I will give him the microphone to tell us more about that, about Vibes, and maybe he can give something to our beautiful audience today. Great fundamentals on what you said about privacy. Excuse me, that you cannot interact with the user in the privacy features on the base layer. This is great, and I can't think of another project that does that at the moment. And regarding Vibes, when you told us about Vibes without revealing the name, when we were discussing ambassadors' roles a few weeks back, we were very excited about the application. We didn't know what it is when we saw it rolling out. This is a real adoption beginning. This is a true beginning of Web3. Technology hiding behind the application like magic. No one knows that there's blockchain running the app, account abstraction taking everything from what we knew already, how to create a wallet and the phrases and everything. You just create your account, you go in. I'm sure, and I truly believe that the app will do very well. I'm sure you have many things in mind to, not only in sports and entertainment, but maybe other. We saw Canal Plus giving the coupons. I saw the other day through your application, so that's great as well. So I'll give it back to Anthony now to take us through Vibes a little bit more deeply, and we'll go to the next one, which is everyone wants to know what's going on with governance and the voting, the inflation of the product. Let's go. We can go more deeply in the technical and fundamental side of things. Anthony?
Yeah, thank you. So I would say that Vibes is this is a project that we're building together with Camille from Upcade. Uh, and the goal that it has is to also show Aleph Zero's maybe human face, so to speak, because I think the community associates us with like very deep tech infrastructure projects, cryptography. There is common that the core team helped designed from a UI UX standpoint, but with sort of those vibes implementations, you can actually see that it's entirely possible to abstract blockchain away, right? You just download the app. It's in the app stores. It's in Google Play. You can just go and download this. The moment you launch it, it asks you for a phone number, and then once you confirm the phone number, a wallet is created in the background, and obviously it's an LF0 wallet. The fees that you need to transact and perform operations in the app are also invisible to the user. So the party or the partner that's implementing Vibes to power their own app is simply sponsoring the gas fee for their users. So they're purchasing it one way or another. And then, or they are, the idea is that there is essentially a master wallet that covers the fees. It doesn't mean though that the wallets are custodial, because they're not. It's built on Third Web's secret sharing technology. So in around like 4 or 5 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, there's going to be a possibility to export the wallets or the private keys, and then it's going to be definitely easier to onboard the users that we've onboarded thus far, and then we're talking 20,000 plus in 3 days, and then begin an education process of, hey, this is crypto. You already have a wallet, so why not just use it? And why we've started with this is that I strongly believe that crypto has a problem of approaching the same user base, the same people with with most of the products, and there's still too few teams that are working on the problem of, hey, how do we generally expand the cake for everybody, right? So how do we kind of show people who are not using anything that runs on any blockchain rails or crypto rails that this tech is already at the stage where you can just go and implement it in the app, and you get to have some other benefits or some other way of interacting with the content that's in the application. The NFTs that have been minted through the application, and we're also talking about, I didn't check today, but I think it's around like 16, 17,000 NFTs, and this is just like a small example of what's doable. And then you can obviously set up a market on one of the popular NFT marketplaces, and then suddenly you have um, let's say a crypto native, more of a crypto native experience, rather than having it only within the app. Um, the goal of Vibes, and the sort of the apps that it will power, is to try and experiment with an approach that, or with a thesis that crypto and Web3 can significantly boost engagement and overall user or fan retention before, during, and after various sports and entertainment events. So what you see now is basically an MVP. What you will see in a few weeks is going to be quite, I think, interesting, because there's going to be a dedicated feature that is being worked on right now, which is one of the ideas that we have, is that you kind of get to create your own character, Tamagotchi style, and then you get to upgrade this. The payments are sort of abstracted away via Apple Pay. So you just go and buy, like, I don't know, a new pair of gloves, a new pair of shoes, and like some maybe some health upgrades or something along those lines, and then you could trade those upgrades with other users in an in-app marketplace, which again runs on chain. And then whenever you trade such an upgrade or such an asset, then um, uh, that's where blockchain really shines, because it just simply takes this, puts the asset in the hands of other user, and they can trade it either on the in-app marketplace or they can trade it on some other NFT marketplace, and it's actually usable within that application. So this is something that's coming that we think is going to be quite interesting. There are several organizations that are interested in pursuing the deployment of this. So looking quite good. Um, and again, the project would not be possible without Kamil from Upgate. So we're very happy to be working on this together.
This is amazing, actually. I was sure that you're gonna give us something new tonight. We've never heard of this, like a small game or community or tradable stuff that any company can put their own on the app. So just for everybody to understand, we're talking about like a base app that anybody can build on that based on their community, based on their product. It can be sports, it can be entertainment, whatever it is. The base is there, the layer is there for any project basically to build on that. But how easy it is, Anthony or Piotr, actually, to take Vibes app and build on that? And just a follow up on the Vibes, and we'll close the subject of Vibes, because I really want to talk about governance and what
Yeah.
you rolled
So
out now. Yeah.
sure. So the idea is that you have, like, it's not going to be as self-service as it may seem, because there is still some work involved, right? You have to customize the front end. You have to deploy this. You have to have like a partner organization with its own community, ideally, so that they also help to promote this and onboard people to the new app. The goal is for Vibes to just become the go-to engagement engine for brands, creators, organizations, and so on. Obviously, like, if we're talking about, say, I don't know, a sports club or a football club or an NBA team or whatever, you do have to customize the front end. So you have the back end modules more or less ready. There's like 10 different modules that you can just use to deploy this app, and then you can either customize it. Yourself, or you would just work with the Vibes team so that they help to put your colors on it, logos, design the characters in a proper way, and so on and so forth. And then an interesting feature is that it's also going to have Holy Held powered. Holy Held is this crypto card provider that just integrated LF0 recently, and there are going to be branded cards for each of those use cases, so that you can, for instance, just pay and get a cashback in whatever, for instance, the organization will want to promote, whether it's points, whether it's tokens. It's uh, something that we still have to kind of implement and then see what is going to be the most interesting thing. We already have the first use case confirmed for this, so we should know relatively soon. Um, what else?
Great.
In the end, obviously, like, it would be really cool where you just have Vibes as a platform. You go in and you just kind of build via an editor that is more akin to something like Webflow, for instance, where you have templates for different apps and then you get to customize this. But this is more of a long-term concept, long-term vision. Right now, there is still manual work involved.
Amazing. Great. Okay, great. So now let's talk a little bit about governance and voting and the rollout of governance and what happened in the past few days. I'm sure you've been working on that for many months in advance. And at the end, to be honest, I'd like you to address a little bit of the FUD going around the project. We'd like to have you focused on the technical stuff because you're doing a great job on that. But from what we're hearing, and because we love fundamental analysis and we believe Azero is a true gem, we'd love to have a comment from your side on this. But at the end, now let's see what we have now. Azero has a max supply as a project in the tokenomics of the project, and you introduced governance 3 days ago. There was a test mode, a test period, and then we went to live. Now voting is live, so every staker can vote. Piotr, if you can take us through the voting and what you have in mind on that, and what's going to be the future implementation of the vote of the community for Azero.
Sure. So I think that demand and supply are very powerful forces in the market. As we look in what is happening now, first thing I would say that it's very crucial step for us, and us, I mean the community as well as us as developers of Alex Zero, to provide such an opportunity for voting. And we also very grateful for Przemek and Syncra to providing the platform and helping us to build and get all of this done. It took us a really long time, because if we look at some other ecosystems, I think that the great example here is Polkadot One. Badly implemented or too fastly implemented governance can really ruin the project. And I'm a very big fan of decentralization, but progressing decentralization. So to do that, I believe you need to release some features and give out the power to the community in some steps. Because if you're decentralized from day one, that means that decision making is also decentralized. And it's really hard to manage and drive the project toward the success, right? And we've seen that, for example, in the example of the Polkadot, that they introduced this governance to Zero with a lot of the learnings from the, let's say, past season of it, right? So we waited so long as well just to get enough market data, look how others do it, and think what we think about it, to make a great and reasonable roadmap about how we want to approach the governance. And yeah, the max supply and the whole discussion around the inflation is very important one for us, for the whole ecosystem and investors, I believe, because it can give more scarcity to a token, and thanks to this, make it look better and a lot of the eyes in the eyes of the market, I would say. So it's a very crucial step for us and the whole ecosystem. And for now, looking at how voting is going, I'm pretty excited in the change which gonna come very soon to our Zero token.
Looks like we're going for a max supply, a capped supply. I see that last time I checked it, I think it was 97% voting for yes on that. And then we're going to go to the second step, or the second round, let's say, of voting, which is going to, we're going to decide if we're going to have a constant minting of Azero tokens or implement the Bitcoin standard, kind of, to have a exponential supply going in the market on that. But I've read some articles on that, giving some concerns regarding the proof of stake, let's say, logic of Azero. Azero is a proof of stake project. Do you have anything to say on that? Does it affect the proof of stake concept and all the DeFi on top of Azero, the validator, all the work that needs to be done, having a cap supply on this, or not at all?
Sure. I think, of course, it can change the optics, how the existing validators as well as the new ones are looking to support the project. But in the end, I don't see any bad influence here because first, it's still very long time, rather, until the cap gonna be reached, whatever, and if the cap gonna be there, it's not the situation where you would change just in a one day from one type of operating to another. It's also not that big of a change as happened in the Ethereum ecosystem when it become proof of stake from proof of work some time ago. And even while there would not be additional incentives for the validators in terms of inflation, you can still, as an ecosystem, provide them with transaction fees. And here, I believe that DAO Vault also would be just a great way to resolve and the discussion, which for sure gonna occur around that. And then you just can think if okay, 100% of transaction fee should go to the validators and the stakers, or maybe still some part of it should be burned, etc. So, of course, there are few economic models to be implemented here. However, as we see in some other ecosystems, so we also have some examples already in place. I don't see any bad scenarios happening because of the on the cap supply. Um, and rather would see it as a good move for the ecosystem with some additional incentive, which is making the token more scarce, which is also gonna put validators in a great position, I believe.
This is great to hear. And if anybody didn't stake yet, of course they can visit Aleph Zero page, and they can stake in so many ways and support and provide the security for the Aleph Zero project. There's no need to have your tokens sitting around in an exchange. We've seen many things happen in the past. Of course, you provide to the network, you help the network, you support the network by staking your tokens, and of course you can vote on this new change, which from our analysis we think it's going to go pretty well. I think Anthony got disconnected. Let me bring him up. Just a second. Yes. Okay, he will be a speaker now.
Thank you. Got disconnected for a
Okay.
second.
No problem, Anthony. Anything to add on that, on the governance and voting, and one last comment on the future of Azero and what we should expect in the future of the project?
Growth. That's if I were to boil this down to one word, like we are heavily focused on onboarding users. This is our North Star, because I think initially, you start off and you primarily think of, generally, we're collectively as an industry, we're building an infrastructure that will be the new payment rails of the world, right? That was the assumption. Or maybe even more than payments, just any type of value exchange, data ownership, and so on. um and somewhere in the meantime, you get so busy with the micro optimizations on the infra that you kind of forget that you also need to massively onboard users. And this is something that I think with Vibes we've shown that we know how to do, that we can deliver something that is scalable, that the network can withhold the traffic. And the really cool upside is that all the accounts that are onboarded via Vibes, these are real humans. We're not talking about like um uh, guesswork whether a certain wallet um is a human being or not, or a concept of an active wallet. We're talking about wallets that are connected to phone numbers, and that means that there is more, let's say, um, uh, proof or assurance that this particular wallet belongs to a human. And in this case, also, obviously, um, privacy comes into place, or like breaking the links between specific phone numbers and wallets. This is going to be probably increasingly important. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. Next major release on our side is going to be there are going to be two of them. First one is the official introduction of the enterprise program, and the second is going to be this well, zkOS in action, let's call it, on an example of a privacy wallet.
Nice. So, if someone is excited about what you said tonight, both of you, what you said tonight, and wants to buy a Zero, what are the platforms that someone can go and buy the token? Can it be only exchanges? Can it also be decentralized exchanges?
Yeah, I don't want to endorse any of the venues, but you can probably check out some pages like CoinGecko, and you can see
Okay.
their
Okay.
reliable source, yeah, of
I
them. But
sure.
I'm a big fan of the decentralized approach, so then just can vouch for a
Yes. Okay. I
Condex.
understood that you
So
cannot say
great
names.
product of ours.
That you cannot say names. I was hoping that you're gonna say Bybit, but or any other or anything big like that as a sex. But we'll leave it. We'll leave that for now. Okay, guys. I don't want to take any more of your time. I want to thank you for your time. It was great. I want to thank all of our audience all over the world. We loved having you live. First time to the Greek audience, and I'm sure tonight was fruitful, not only for the Greek audience but also for listeners all over the world, and very productive. I loved what I heard tonight, and the word growth is. I will remember that for a long time from Anthony. Thank you, Piotr. Thank you, Anthony, for that. Any final wording?
Thank you for having us. It's the first time that we are connected to a Greek community on a Twitter space or X space. Uh, I'm still having challenges with this rebranding. But yeah, thank
We
you
still
so
call
much
it
for
Twitter.
putting it. Yeah, I mean, it's been like what, 15 years.
Yes.
Um, but thank you so much for all the work associated with putting it together. Thank you for introducing the project to your community. And if you are interested in following Aleph Zero, go to alephzero.org. Follow us on Twitter. Well, X. Sorry, again. Follow us on X. And the next 4 to 8 weeks are going to be very, very intense for us in terms of sharing new developments. So I hope it's going to be interesting for you.
Amazing, amazing, great. And Discord as well, because I've seen that the community is amazing in Discord, and I encourage everybody to join Aleph Zero on Discord. You can find our allocation on Azero and all other cryptos that we've selected, and follow our wallet live by being a premium Durman Capital member at durmancapital.com. You can visit it for more details. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the listeners tonight, and we'll be in touch. Good night.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Night, night.